RoHS exemption finalized by the EU Commission. Hello, my name is Eva from IPOINT Systems, and I would like to inform you about the latest developments for the RoHS exemption on Annex III. The EU Commission has recently finalized the delegated directives that are going to amend the RoHS exemptions under Annex III of the directive. The process of the renewals for some commonly used RoHS exemptions has been delayed since years. Of course, during this period, everybody could still use these exemptions as long as a renewal application has been submitted in time before. Now, it is planned that the new delegated directive that has been finalized by the EU Commission shall be published in the official journal of the European Union by end of this year, and then, of course, come into force 20 days later. I would like to make you familiar with the most important questions and, of course, answers to these new and extended exemptions. First of all, which exemptions are affected right now? We have a long list of exemptions under Annex III, but today I would like to talk about the three groups that are commonly used. And this covers RoHS exemption 6A to C, talking about lead in steel, aluminum, and copper alloys. Exemption 7A, lead in high melting temperature solder, and exemption 7C1 and 2, covering lead in glass and ceramic components. First of all, what will happen to these exemptions? Most of the exemptions that have been used by industry for the past years will no longer be there, will expire, and will be replaced by more specific ones that are covering certain conditions and use cases. In addition to that, for example, for the 6A to C and all the sub-exemptions there will be a restriction that those exemptions are not allowed to be used if under foreseeable and normal conditions the products can be placed in the mouth of a child and, of course, exceeding a certain exposure rate. This is something very new, first time under RoHS. The other exemption group, talking for example about 7C1 and 2, are going to expire end of June 2027. And this will be replaced by exemption 7C5 and 6 that make a better difference and a split between the use of glass and ceramics. Exemption 7A, lead in high melting temperature solder, is also going to expire and will be replaced by actually 6 different sub-exemptions, so 7A1 to 6. They are really specific for the use cases, materials, and conditions, and also do prevent kind of a misuse of this exemption if it's really not technically needed. Next question is, are all the dates fixed already? Most of the expiration dates are already communicated in the draft. That means there is a certain date already fixed. But a few and those are mostly the ones that are going to expire really or are not going to be renewed or are going to be replaced by other ones, will depend on the final date when the directive is being published and then, of course, when it comes into force. So, for example, they are listed, will expire 12 months after coming into force of the delegated directive. The next question, of course, is how long can the new exemptions be used? According to the RoHS directive, all exemptions have, even when they are being published, a expiration date set in the future. Even the new exemptions that are new now, the new ones that have more detailed ones, have already an expiration date, most of them end of December 2027. That, of course, means that companies who are using these exemptions or are going to use the new exemptions already have to prepare the renewal process. According to the RoHS directive, 18 months before the expiration of an exemption, the renewal application has to be submitted to the EU Commission. As an example, we have exemptions that will expire June or end of June 2027. That means that the application date, the due date for submitting the application, will be December 31st, 2025, so only a few months from today. Of course, some exemptions have a so-called phase-out date. They are not eligible for renewal anymore since they have been replaced by some more specific ones. Knowing all this, what do I have to do now? Companies that are dealing with parts and materials and who are affected under RoHS or who are in the supply chain for RoHS-covered products, of course, must know which substances are used in their products and which conditions they are using to identify a valid exemption. You must ensure there is an existing exemption now and, of course, in the future. Especially the exemptions that are now more detailed, like, for example, 7A, forces companies to really dig into the details and check if one of the conditions or one of the exemptions are meeting their conditions to also be compliant in the future. We often see that companies receive information about, for example, lead in their products as they are notified about by an Article 33 notification from their supply chain, but not in any case they really think about what does it mean for their RoHS compliance. Having an SVHC like lead above 0.1% means automatically you need to have a RoHS exemption if your part, your material, your product finally belongs to an electronic device. You have to communicate, you have to connect with your supply chain and identify the RoHS-related substances in your products. You have to ensure that you are meeting the conditions of the future exemptions under RoHS to be able to deliver compliant products or to be able to deliver products that your customer can use for a RoHS related or for a product covered under the RoHS directive. The final question, of course, is who can help me? Can IPOINT help me here? Yes, of course, we can. IPOINT offers solutions and services around handling material compliance data. We do have the so-called CARE principle. It means collect, analyze, report, and evolve your material compliance data. Mostly, of course, needed for complex and high-risk products. Our material compliance solution, beside RoHS, does also cover other regulations and substance list, talking about REACH, Prop 65, PFAS, POP, TSCA, and others. Contact me for further information or visit our website. Thanks for listening.